Hello guys. Well, here I am again, old Screaming Lehman, Mr. Antone. I'm going to try to make you a cup. Now there are so many cups. Cups are awesome. One of my favorite things in the entire world is to have a cup made in ceramics. I've got, I think, around 1.5 pounds, and I'm going to throw it in the center. That is not the center. I was going to wish it was. I'm going to center it up. I'm going to clean up down here. Bring it on down. Now the type of cup that I want to make is I want to make a cup that has a nice foot, so I'm not going to go super far down. I'm going to leave enough clay that I'll be able to trim a foot out of it, probably about yay high. So I'm going to leave probably this much clay on the bottom, which is pretty thick. But I want to have a nice foot because I like having that space. The reason why I like having a nice foot is I think that if you have a nice foot, there's going to be air that's trapped between the floor of your cup and the floor of the surface you're putting on, that air in there. If you have hot drink inside of your mug, that'll keep that circulation going. If you have too wide of a base without a foot and you put that hot coffee on a cold surface, it'll immediately cool it off. Does that make sense? But that's why I like to do that. So I want to center this up. I don't make it too wide. I make it about like that. I like to open it up with a sponge. Open it up on the inside. Like I said, I don't want to go too far down. Probably about like that right there would be plenty for me. And this cup, I want it to be a little bit wide, and then I want it to come back up again. So I'm going to start off by making this a little bit wide. So I'm going to widen it out first, and then I'm going to come on up. I have an air bubble in there, darn it. Put this down. So I go underneath here. I'm making my coffee cup wide. And then I'm gonna narrow it on in. Come on up. See where it's jumping up and down? That air bubble did that to me, which is annoying, but I'll get that out of there in just a second. So now that I have it thrown, I'm gonna use my rib to clean that up. I'm gonna go underneath here, clean up this base. I'm gonna take the side, clean up along the outside, and twist that a little bit right there. I'm going to get rid of that little dealy wheelie bumpy dumpy. Wet my hands down, wet this down. Clean that off. Wet it, I'm going to compress the rim. I think that looks a little too wide for me, so I'm going to wet it down a little bit and I'm going to narrow it in just a tad. Not much, just a little bit. I'm going to compress again. I want to point this. I don't want it to be too square. I like it to be a little pointy. So that way, when I'm drinking out of it, I want to think about that. I don't want it to feel sharp or squared. So if I make this come to a point now, and then if I use my rib to clean up this outside, and then last thing I do is I take my sponge where I just made that to a point and clean off the edge like that. You can see now it's pretty round, and that will feel good when I'm drinking out of it. And that's basically it. I'll maybe put a slip for surface texture on this when it's all said and done after I trim it. But I have plenty of clay down here to be able to make a nice foot. It's plenty wide. It'll hold a big cup of coffee. It narrows in to help hold the heat. Those are things to think about.